What's up, collectors? Welcome back to Films by Color. I've got a big stack here of brand new releases, all from boutique labels that I've been watching through last month, in the month of December, and most of these were released in December, so a lot of new stuff here that I just want to talk to you guys about, share my thoughts, and hopefully give you guys some great recommendations for stuff you might want to pick up soon before they go out of print. All right, let's go ahead and start with the big one. This is a big release from Imprint Films. This is a lenticular limited edition hardbox set of The Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Deserts. This is a film from 1994, an Australian-made, independent, low-budget 1994 film about three drag queens who have to go on a road trip all the way across Australia. It's a comedy, first and foremost, I think, and it's a hilarious, outrageous comedy that has some surreal moments, but it also has a lot of humanity in it. There's great character moments. There's a scene with a kid that I won't spoil that really got me. My wife and I had a great time watching this. We watched it on Thursday night after we put the kids down, but we should have watched it on Friday night because it was absolutely a Friday night kind of movie. It stars Hugo Weaving and Guy Pearce, very, very young Hugo Weaving and Guy Pearce, and also Terence Stamp, little older Terence Stamp as the three drag queens. Terence Stamp plays a transsexual who is also a drag queen, and they are traveling all across the outback to try to get to the other side of Australia. I won't spoil why they're trying to get there because that's kind of a reveal later on in the film, but it's just crazy. Guy Pearce plays this very over-the-top, eccentric, flamboyant character. It's driving Terence Stamp nuts. They've been friends for a long time. They have great chemistry together. Really, really good stuff. This is kind of an Odyssey film, which I love. I always get made fun of for mentioning After Hours on this channel way too much, but I really love Odyssey films where you're just going from town to town, point to point, meeting strange, interesting characters along the way, and just really letting the three main characters shine. And I will say, if you're not really a fan of drag or big over-the-top flamboyant characters, if you watch the trailer and it didn't really seem like your thing, I will say there is a lot to like here outside of that. If you strip away all the trappings, it's just a very universal story about a middle-aged person whose job has become tiresome and they just want to get out. They're trying to get out. They're trying to settle down. They're trying to start a family. And Terence Stamp just gives an incredible performance in this. And Hugo Weaving also, who I didn't even realize that he was Australian, or at least grew up in Australia. I've never heard him use an Australian accent in any of the movies I've seen him in. And he was great in this. He also has a wonderful character arc about accepting himself and finding others that accept him and stepping up to roles that he doesn't find himself appropriately suited for. So it's great. I highly recommend it. The 4K looks awesome. I'm not the most technically savvy person. My eyes are not trained that well. I've heard some people complain that there are some skin tone problems in the film. I didn't notice. I was in the story, and if I did notice it, I probably just chalked it up to stylistic choice because like I said, there are some surreal moments in this film. There's some great flashbacks with some very dark comedy, so be prepared for that. But yeah, some of those go into more surreal visuals, so I was probably just thinking of that. But I love super colorful scenery, and the outback looks amazing in this. They actually shot it in the outback on a road trip. The whole crew just had to travel on this bus that they're driving around called Priscilla. There's also a Blu-ray disc in here. Both the 4K and the Blu-ray have the audio commentary. And then disc 3 has all these special features and a feature-length documentary narrated by Terence Stamp called Between a Rock and a Hard Place. And that is not about the film itself, but more about queer and trans culture in the 90s in Australia and how dangerous it was at the time. There are also lots of other interviews and featurettes on here, including a new 30-minute featurette with the director, and then some deleted scenes, and a very long blooper reel, actually. That's not really a blooper reel, but more of just like a travel log of them filming the entire thing. That's like 20 minutes long. It was great. We watched that together too. There's also a booklet in here that I read through, 2 different essays in there. A lot of fun. I read those right after we watched it, and very informative. And then we've also got this slipcase right here that has all the art cards in it. So a very, very fun movie, wonderful release. I love everything about the packaging. Highly recommend it if you can pick one up. I think it's still in print. It just came out, so it should still be in print over on Imprint's website. So what a pleasant surprise right here at the beginning of the year. Had a great time with this one, and I really like this packaging. I hope Imprint keeps doing these lenticular hard boxes. They just did the same thing with The Neverending Story. They look so good. They look great. I like those a lot. Hopefully they keep doing those. All right, next up is another one I watched last week. I said I watched that one on Thursday night. The following night, Friday night, we popped in The Holdovers, the 4K release from Shout Factory. This is not a new movie, obviously. Came out the year before, but the transfer is new. This is the 4K that we've been waiting for all year. Appropriately, they waited till Christmas time. This is a December release. It is a 4K and a Blu-ray. I'm really glad I held off and didn't pick up the Blu-ray on this one because this is a wonderful release. Love the case. Love the just very simple poster on the front, except for that big ugly gray banner at the top. And then you've got the nice red spine on the side. Very appropriate. This is a wonderful movie. Everybody has said their piece on this movie by this point. Pretty universal. I haven't met anyone that doesn't like this film. I wasn't as high on it as everybody else was. I really enjoyed it the first time, but I needed a second watch for it to really sink in, and man, did I have a great time watching this the second time. Even liked it even more the second time. It's great. Paul Giamatti, robbed of the Oscar. He gave the best performance of last year. Incredible performance. And then you've got the new guy, Dominic Sessa. I believe that's how you say his name. He's incredible in this as well. I like that they cast actual children in this. They're actually the right age. They don't look like they're 30. And of course, Divine Joy Randolph. I think she did win for this appropriately. And she's awesome in this. The big thing to talk about is now the 4K transfer that we have here in the States. I think the UK got a release earlier. It looks awesome. It looks wonderful. I know it's a controversial release, and I did have some problems with, because if you don't know, they added artificial grain, and even more than just the grain, they added artifacts on the screen, like distortion that you would see if you actually saw a film print in theaters. And that was a little distracting this time through. I don't know if it was just because it was more noticeable in the 4K, because I watched it on Amazon Prime the first time I watched it last year, or if it was because I had heard people talking about it and then it was in my brain. But that was a little distracting, especially when you're getting to these really heartfelt moments toward the end, and they're really giving some wonderful performances and showing some emotion, and then you'll just see a white speck just pop up right in front of their face. That was pretty distracting. That took me out a couple times, unfortunately. I think the best way to do it, if you really wanted to add some artificial artifacts on there, would have been to just do it at the beginning. Do it at the beginning to set the mood and make it feel like you're watching a 70s movie, and then let it slowly fade out. It doesn't need to go through the whole film, I don't think. I think you could have set the mood and then kind of dropped it, because by that point, you're in the movie, so you don't really need to be taken out by little flecks of grain. So there's your 4K disc. And then over here is the Blu-ray disc. Nothing else, no special bells and whistles. It's a Shout Factory release, no booklet, just the movie and some special features. There are a few things here on the back, not much at all though, just working with Alexander and the cast of Holdovers, a deleted scene, and an alternate ending. So just a very bare bones release, but I had to have it. Had to add it to the Christmas collection. Wonderful Christmas movie. Will go into the rotation, if not every year, at least every other year, because I really enjoyed that one. Fantastic film. Let me know if you picked that one up as well. Next up, we have a fun one here. This was a very last minute addition. I actually picked this up the day after Christmas. I wish I had found out about it earlier. This one went completely by without me even having it on my radar. It is Santa Claus Conquers the Martians from Vinegar Syndrome. It's actually an AGFA release. This is the limited slipcover, which is out of print now. I had to find this on eBay. I did pay $10 more than the sticker price, which was unfortunate, but I really wanted to grab it. It's a wonderful release, and I collect Christmas movies, so I wanted to have this. You can still get the standard release on Vinegar Syndrome's website, so if you just want the movie, you don't care about that, go ahead and grab it, because this is a really fun release. And I really wanted to highlight this, even though I haven't had a chance to watch the main feature yet, Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. It's a movie I've always wanted to watch. It's one of those crazy, so bad they're good, over-the-top Mystery Science Theater movies that I've always heard about. But like I said, I got this after Christmas, so I'll probably wait till next year to watch the movie. But the reason I wanted to tell you guys about this, so you can pick it up before it goes out of print, is this little section down here, Santa Claus Conquers the Martians and Other Holiday Hallucinations. There's a bunch of other features on here. There's the back, what a wonderful looking retro slipcover. But there's a lot of other stuff on here, not just the main feature. There are a ton of shorts on here, which I'm always a big fan of. I always like to play shorts either for my kids, or we like to watch a short before the main feature as a family. And this has a bunch of classic stuff. And the main one that I was excited about was A Christmas Dream, which is a Carol Zeman stop motion animated short, a very early stop motion short from Carol Zeman. He is one of my favorite directors. He is known for Journey to the Beginning of Time, Invention for Destruction, The Fabulous Baron Munchausen. Incredible mixed media animation director, and this is a very early one of his films. Just a little short film about a girl who goes to sleep on Christmas and has a dream about her doll that she just got for Christmas coming to life and getting into all kind of antics. There's also a bunch of other stuff on here: A Christmas Fantasy, Christmas in Toyland, Christmas Journey, Christmas Tree, The Christmas Visitor, the Liberace Christmas Special, Merry Christmas, and The Night Before Christmas. So a ton of animated shorts and some live action, very cool like time capsule pieces of the early like 30s and 40s and 50s. The Christmas Journey is what it's called on here. It has a couple different names, but that's a big famous Russian animated Christmas short that was translated into English, and that was a lot of fun too. You've also got The Spirit of Christmas and A Visit from St. Nicholas and A Visit to Santa. So tons of stuff on here. I didn't even get through all of it. I watched through most of it. I think I got to the Liberace Christmas Special, but yeah, this is a must-own Christmas release to pull out off the shelf every year and watch with the family. I'm so happy that I found out about that. Thank you to Steelbook Obsessed, who mentioned those other shorts, because I didn't even know those other shorts were on there. They really downplayed it. Most of the talk I heard was just about the main feature. So that's an awesome release. Grab it before it goes out of print. You can still get the standard version. And I had a lot of fun with what I've seen so far, and I can't wait to dig into the rest of it next Christmas. All right, we've talked about an Australian release and an American release. Now we're gonna go to the UK and talk about one of my favorite boutique labels, Second Run. This is a film I've been wanting on Blu-ray for a while. I already had the DVD from Second Run, but now they've released the Blu-ray. This just came out this past December. This is an incredible Czech fairy tale film that takes place in wintertime. It's not specifically a Christmas movie, but it became a big Christmas favorite, big Christmas classic in all those Eastern European countries because they would play it on TV all the time around Christmas time. So a lot of people have a lot of nostalgic feelings for this movie around Christmas time. I do not, because I had never seen it until just last year for the first time when I picked up the DVD release. Now this Blu-ray is exactly the same. You're gonna get the same booklet, and the disc looks the same, but it is an upgraded 1080p release. And you also get 2 extra special features on here, which is a whole other film. You get 2 films. You get a Cinderella film from 1929, which is an early Czech silent film version of the classic tale. And then you get The Little Shoe, which is a 1937 short animated Czech film. So you get 2 extra films in there, a feature-length silent film and an animated short that weren't on the DVD release. So this is a must pick up if you love this film. This is a definitive version we've got so far. It is from a 4K restoration, so maybe we'll do a 4K at some point. If Second Run ever gets into the 4K game, I don't know if that's gonna happen or not. I'm happy with this release. I watched it again in December with my youngest, my daughter. She is 4 years old, and this kept her captivated the entire time. Even though she doesn't speak Czech, she loved it. Czech films are very, very visual, especially their fairy tale films, and she had no problem following the story. This is a very cool version of Cinderella, maybe my favorite version of Cinderella. This Cinderella is awesome. If you find Cinderella too passive in the main, original story, check out this version because she's a lot of fun. She has a stepmother, an evil stepmother, but she doesn't have a fairy godmother in this. It's an owl. There's so many cool, unique, like really interesting choices that they make in this Czech version. She has this owl, and he gives her like 3 wishes through these acorns, and each one is a different disguise that she wears. So her first one, she becomes like a hunter, and there's a lot more interaction with the prince in this. It fleshes out that relationship much better. She knows him beforehand, but she's always in disguise, which is one of my biggest qualms with the fairy tale. She doesn't wear a mask. He can see her when he dances with her, but he has to test her foot in order to tell who she is. It's a silly thing. Obviously, it doesn't matter in a fairy tale. They're not playing by realistic rules, but Czech fairy tales I've learned from the ones I've seen so far, they like to ground them a little bit more, make them more realistic, make them a little bit more believable. And this actually does a pretty good job of it. So she's in disguise as a hunter. She goes out on a fox hunt with the prince and she bests him at archery. And then in the second wish, she wishes for the ball gown dress, and she's actually in disguise. She has a veil when they're dancing. And then I won't tell you what the third wish is, but you can probably figure it out. You know the story. It's great. I love it quite a bit. beautiful scenery. I love the snowy landscapes and the castle that they have the ball in is like a real castle, a real Czech castle. Awesome. Looks great. It is available on Criterion Channel, the streaming service, which is where I watched it first. So if you want to watch it there before you pick it up, you can check it out there. And if you do end up picking this up and you like it and you want a little bit of a darker fairy tale story, I highly recommend these two films by Uri Hertz, also Czech films, The Virgin and the Monster, which is a Beauty and the Beast take, and then Margiana. Both great films. I watched these in October last year, and they're both incredible. Second Run has been killing it with their releases lately. I highly recommend all three of these, and I can't wait to check out more of their releases in the future. Next up, we've got another Christmas time favorite that was played on TV for a lot of people growing up. This time in Canada. This is a French-Canadian film called The Dog Who Stopped the War. What a fun movie this was. This is another movie that I watched with the kids. This is a straight up kids film from the Tales for All series. Played on TV a lot. They were a series of children's films. I think there's like 10 or 12 of them. There's actually all of the trailers of all the films included on this set. So I hope they continue to release those so I can grab them for the kids. They've released 4 so far, and one of them is another Christmas film called The Christmas Martian, but that came out last year, I believe. This is a 2024 release, although it's an earlier release. I think it came out at the beginning of 2024, but I was waiting till Christmas time to watch it. It's just a story about a group of kids that are on Christmas break, which my kids just were, had them home for 2 weeks, had to play full-time dad for a long time, and it was a lot of fun. We could not do this though. This is the whole time for the 2 weeks, they're having a giant, incredible, epic snowball fight, snowball battle, really, and they build this incredible snowball fort. Very simple story, just kids having fun, using their imaginations, but some very human moments in there. There's a couple kids, the kind of bully kid on the other side who kind of comes around, kind of has a change of heart for this the female lead on the other side, and she's great. And I don't think she went on to do anything else, but she's really, really good in this. All the kids are great, and I don't think any of them really went on to do anything else. This is a very independent, low-budget film, but the last battle's a lot of fun. If you have kids, I highly recommend checking this out. There's a booklet in here with an interview. Look at all these special features. Look at that. This is what I love about boutique labels. Just for this little small children's film, we get so much love and care put into this release. Tons of special features, tons of featurettes and behind the scenes and commentary. And I should mention there is an English dub. So the French version is included and the English version. So if your kids aren't up for watching a French film yet, I actually showed them the dubbed version for this just because it was easier for them to follow what was going on. But they do have the original French version as well, so that's great. I highly recommend you pick that up if you have kids. It is from Canadian International Pictures, which is a sub-label of Vinegar Syndrome. You can find that on the Vincennes site. I think it's still in print. I had no problem picking it up over the summer. But that was great. That was a lot of fun. Let me know if you've seen that one or if you're familiar with the Tales for All series, because I'd like to get more of those. Next up, we've got another release that came out earlier in the year, but I just finally picked it up in December. It is from Shout Factory. It's a beautiful steelbook from Shout Factory. It is The Last Unicorn. Look at that. Rankin and Bass animated fantasy film, sword and sorcery film. I'm a big fan of Rankin and Bass's sword and sorcery stuff. I wish they had done more of that and less of the Christmas specials. No offense to the Christmas specials. I know they got stuck in that routine of doing one of those every year for a while, but these are so much better. This is great. This is actually great. I was not expecting this to be as good as it was. Even better than their Hobbit film, and I think they did a Return of the King film too. This is better. This is great. It has an incredible 80s soundtrack that I like a lot. I don't know if it's gonna work for you. This is another one that I watched with my daughter. She loved this film. We actually watched it, and then she wanted to watch it the very next day, which she doesn't normally do. I don't really do that with my kids. I usually want them to explore more variety, so we don't really rewatch things very much, but she wanted to watch this the next day. She had a great time with it. I had a great time watching it with her. I will say though, this is older skewing than the last film I just talked about. This actually does have a couple bits of very mild profanity in it, and there's some violence in here. It's a little darker than I was expecting, but she had no problem with it. My older son was a little scared, but she was fine. She absolutely loved it. This is beautifully animated. I actually love the animation style on this. I think it looks even better than The Hobbit. Very stylized, very colorful. Like I said, straightforward sword and sorcery film, which we don't get enough of, especially good ones. You basically got Lord of the Rings and a few other stragglers. This one's great. And it's got some great actors in here, some familiar voices, Alan Arkin, Jeff Bridges, Mia Farrow, and it's just directed really well. Some really interesting cinematography in this that I don't see from Rankin and Bass's other work. And like I said, a wonderful soundtrack. Maybe not one that you're gonna watch by yourself, but if you do have kids, definitely pick this one up, watch it with them, maybe wait till they're a little bit older. This is another one that I've wanted for a long time. I saw it on Criterion Channel a few years ago, and I held off on the Blu-ray, and I'm glad I did, because now we've got this wonderful 4K release. I didn't even mention the 4K restoration looks awesome. Looks really, really good. I think it looks the best it's ever gonna look right here. This is a definitive version. I opted to go with the Steelbook on this one because I really liked how it looked, but there is also a standard edition with a slipcover from Shout Factory. So if that's more your style, you can pick that one up too. But another one that I recommend for the whole family. And then the last one here is not a kid's film. It is a John Ford, John Wayne collaboration from 1948 called Three Godfathers. This is a Warner Archive Collection release. This is an adaptation of a novel that John Ford really liked. He actually made two versions of it. This is his remake version. The first one I think is a silent film. It's been adapted a ton. There's also a 1936 version, not directed by John Ford, that is included in here as a special feature. It's also the same novel that Tokyo Godfathers is based on, another wonderful Christmas film. This one, much more Christmassy, takes place in Japan at Christmas time, lots of snow. So if you're looking for some really strong Christmas vibes, maybe watch Satoshi Kon's version, but I like to watch nothing but Christmas movies in December, so I like to have a little bit of variety, and I think this one actually does make for a good Christmas movie. It takes place at Christmas time, but it takes place completely in the desert. It's a Western film about John Ford and two other fellas who come across this woman giving birth out in the middle of the desert by herself. They help her deliver the baby. Unfortunately, she passes away, and the rest of the film is them going on this big trek through the desert trying to return this baby to civilization. And it's great. It's another journey film. I actually think it does feel a little bit like Christmas. The cinematography is beautiful. I don't know where they shot this, Arizona or Utah or somewhere. Gorgeous. All of the landscapes are incredible. The saturation is bumped up. The skies are so blue, and the sand is like completely white sand, and it's the wind is blowing, and it kind of gives the feel of snow, like brushing across the screen. I don't know, I kind of felt Christmassy while I was watching this. It's a great film. If you love Treasures of the Sierra Madre, very similar vibes in this. John Wayne gives an incredible performance. All three of the men give great, great performances. Had a great time watching this one. There are some parallels to the nativity story with the three men compared to the three wise men. You got the baby. A Bible keeps coming up throughout the film. So there are some more Christmas connections than just the time of year. I highly recommend it. It's great. A really solid Western film, a lot of little subtle character moments that I really appreciated in this, a lot of humanity with these three guys traveling across the desert. And I didn't mean to do this, but it actually has a lot in common with the first one. So we started and ended with three people traveling across the desert on a mission and revealing things about themselves along the way. They're both great. Everything I talked about today, I really enjoyed, and I recommend that you check out. If you are interested in anything I mentioned, I'll try to put links down in the description below for you to find those easily. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to link to everything on there, but anything that's available on Amazon, I will link for you down there. If you've seen any of these films, please let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And if you have any recommendations for me of boutique releases or boutique labels that I should be paying attention to, please put that in the comments below too. I'm trying to do a better job of keeping up with new releases towards the end of last year and going into this year. So hopefully I can keep up with that and keep the reviews coming for you guys. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you want to hear me talk about the Neverending Story release from Imprint Films, click on the video on your screen. And until next time, keep collecting, and I'll be back with another one real soon.